2019. In this chapter, if function, nested if, count if. It gives you three components. The first component is the condition that you want to test. Then it has two results. One of the results is true, when the condition is true. The other value is false, when the condition is false. The syntax is extremely simple. You have equal, as we used to write before every formula. Then you have the if function. We open bracket and we close it. Don't forget to close the same bracket as you open it. The amount of open brackets equal the amount of closed brackets. This rule is going to be very important when we deal with the more complex if function. Then you have the condition, the first component, which is here the condition. Then the value if true, which is the first branch. Then the value if false, which is the second branch. If we have an example, a student table, we have 10 students. Each one has a grade, and we would like to know which one passed and which one failed. So here we have a condition. If the student grade is greater than or equal to 50, the student passes. Otherwise, the student fails. So the example is here, equal, which is the standard rule before any formula. Then the if function, open bracket, close bracket. Inside the close brackets, the two parentheses, you have the condition, E4, which is a cell, greater than 50. If the value in the cell E4, which is 60 here, is greater than 50, then the student passes, else the student fails. In the practical part here, as you can see, the table that we saw before in the previous slide, it's there. I wrote it for you to save time, as well as added a few labels here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 labels to apply some functions here. So here in the results, we need to specify which student passed and which student did not pass. Here we have the condition is if the student pass, then the grade must be greater than or equal 50. So 60 Alex pass, Celine pass. If has 40, she does not pass. Then we go down until Susan, she got 20. Susan will not pass. So out of 10, there are 2 students that did not pass and 8 students passed. So how can we represent that in a formula? It's going to be, of course, use if statement. I'm going to use this typing so it is memorized and practiced. So it's the first thing is equal, then if statement or if function, open bracket, close bracket. Always do that so you do not miss closing bracket. Now the first component is the logical test. The logical test is going to be the cell E5, the value of the cell E5 greater than or equal to 50. So if the value of cell E5 greater than or 50, greater than or equal 50, the student passes. Otherwise, the student fails. And enter. So Alex 60 pass, which is true. Now let's drag and see how the function is implemented. So as we expected, A 40 fail and Susan 20 fail. So these were the 2 students who failed the exams, and the rest passed the exams. Nested if function. after we finished the table and we knew now how to apply the if function, now nested if function, what does it mean? If you remember, we have three components: condition, true, false components, so we have three. How about if we add another if statement inside the first if statement? If statement can take many other if statements inside it, but with different conditions, and of course going to be different values for true and false. This actually, I'm going to give you three forms of it because these are the most frequently used ones and also the most complicated ones. Once you understand this concept, you can go through it like like great. So the first form here, you have if statement condition 1. You have the first component true. But the first component that's true is another if statement. It's another if statement that has three components: condition, value true, value false. So the true has an if statement in it. However, the false doesn't have anything but the false view. So here is one component, two component, three components, where the third component is an if statement. You have if statement inside with one component, two component, and three components. So let's see the syntax of it. You have equal, as we usually do. You have the if statement or if function or if formula. Here I prefer to use the term if function because the if here is a function. Then we open condition 1, which is this one, and the true. The true value here is going to be another if statement, condition 2, value if true, value if false. Then the third component of the first if statement, which is value if false. So as you can see, this is the syntax that is going to be implemented. If we go to the second form, now we have the three components. Also, the condition 1, the true value. The true value is not an if statement anymore. It is just a value for true. And the if statement for false is another if statement here, or the value for if statement for false is another if statement. So instead of having the if statement in the value if true as we did in the form 1, we are going to have it in the value if false. So the syntax is going to be equal as usual, and then if statement, this is the main if statement, which is here condition 1. Value if true, there is no if, it's just value if true. Then the value of false is going to be another if statement. Here is if second if, condition 2, value if true, value if false. So far we took the nested if statement in the true, and then in the second form we took the if statement in the false. How about taking if statement in both true and false? So this is the situation here. The third form, as you can see, is nested if statement in both true and false. Here we have the first component is the condition 1, the regular condition, and then we have the first component, which is the true value, but the true value is another if statement with both true and false. Then the false value of the main if statement or if function is another if function underneath with it is true and false value. So this is the syntax. You have equal as usual, then the if statement or if function, the main if function, which is the first one here. Then instead of condition if false or if true, I'm going to have two if statements. So the first if statement is the condition value if true. I'm going to have condition 2, value if true, value if false. Then the value if false is going to be another if statement, which is here with condition 3, value if true, value if false. So far we spoke about if function when there is a simple condition. We said if the grade is greater than or equal. Now, how about if we want to combine more conditions in one? If function can also take logical operators, not for negation, and finally, or. There is also another operator that's called XOR, but during my 25 years work experience, I haven't used it. So I did not include it here because it's going to be too much for something that you are not going to use, or at least you are not going to use much. The first operator is not. Not is for negation. That's why it takes one condition, as you can see in the syntax, not condition, just one condition. That condition can be true or false, and if we apply the not to the condition, it's going to be the opposite. If the condition evaluates to true, the expression result is going to be false. If the condition evaluates to false, the result is going to be true. As an example, if here the syntax starts with the equal for the formula, then we have the if function, open the brackets, close the brackets as usual, and not inside. The very first thing is not. If you remember, we took the grade less than or equal, it's going to be fail or pass. Now, if the grade is greater than or equal 50, here is not greater than or 50. So basically, if the grade is less than or equal 50, it's going to be fail, and otherwise it's going to be pass. The second operator is and. And takes two conditions, condition 1 and condition 2, to combine two conditions. So we can combine two conditions used either and or. Each condition has true status, true or false. So according to the computer science, 2 to the power of 2, it means 4 statuses. So condition 1 can be true or false or false. Condition 2 can be true, false. So true and true results in true. True and false results in false. True or false and true results in false. False and false results in false. The syntax is and condition 1, comma condition 2. The example is equal for formula if statement, and is the same place like not, if you see that. Grade is greater than or equal 76, and grade and, remember this comma here means and, grade is less than or equal 85. Then this is a range. If the grade is between 76 and 85, then the result is B. The grade is, the final result is going to be B. Otherwise, it's going to be A. Or is a little different. Or basically, it's the opposite of and. So if we have true or true, it's going to be true. Because either one is true, the result is going to be true. The same here, true and true or false is going to be true. False or true is going to be true. But when we have false or false, it is going to be false. The syntax is exactly the same like and, like not, or condition 1 and condition 2 because it combines two conditions with an or operator. The example, if or grade greater than or equal 76, grade less than or equal 85. Now, Let's try to implement a little bit of a complicated if statement in the example that we have. Now, from the student example, we are going to complicate the formula a little bit. It's not much, but it's a little bit. So we said if statement has three components: condition, true, and false. Here is the condition. If the condition number one, if the grade the student took is greater than or 49, because 50 is a passing grade. So if the grade is less than 49, it is going to be false and student is going to be fail. So the student is going to get the F grade. If the grade greater than 49 evaluates to true, then the student passes. But in this condition, we are not going to just give him pass. We are going to give him grade either C or B or A. But how? Each condition is going to have a range of values. So if the grade is greater than 50 and less than 60, then the student is going to get C. So from 50 to 60, it is C. So if the condition evaluates to true with the AND operator, it's going to be the C. But if the condition evaluates to false, so the student means that the student is grade is greater than 49, and in the same time it is not in the range from 50 to 60. It's going to be false. The false here is going to take us to another condition, another if function. I'm asking if the grade is greater than 61 and less than 80. So the grade is between 61 and 80. If this condition evaluates to true, then the student is going to get B. If the condition evaluates to false, the student is going to get A. This means the syntax is going to be like so. We start by the equal if statement. This is the main if statement. Grade greater than 49. This is the condition. Then we have the true. The true is two F's. Is going to be here. And false is going to be the last one. That's why if is alone. The second condition, which is grade greater than or equal 50 and less than or equal 60. It is going to be an AND operator to AND those two conditions. So we connected the grade greater than 50 and grade is less than 60. So if true, the student is going to take C. If false, the student is going to go for another if statement. If and condition is going to be grade greater than 61 and grade is less than 80, then the student is going to be B. Otherwise, the grade is going to be A. It seems to be a little bit complicated than usual, but trust me, we have seen if statements like this one so many times. It is not complicated, it just has a lot of typing. In a moment from now, a few moments from now, we are going to see the replacement of certain of this statement. What if this is really complicated? And how about if we have more if statements than three? Because as you can see, this is the true, Suppose that there are if statements here in the true and false, and even this false, the main false. Yes, you can add many if statements up to some sort of 100 some if statement, but it is going to make it more complex. So there is a replacement, but for the time being, let us try to apply this formula in our example. Here is our example. We want to implement this if statement with all its complexity. So we are going to stop at G5, and we have two options to write the formula, either to start by typing equal in the formula bar, or we can go to the insert function, and here it's if statement. If, as you can see, you have the logical test, you have the value if true, you have the value if false. What is the logical test here? The logical test is going to be E5 greater than or equal to 59, because 60 is a 50 is a passing grade. So sorry, it's 49. 49 because 50 is a passing grade. And if this is true, we are going to go for another one. But if it is false, we are going to have fail. Now, let's go to the true. The true is going to be another expression. So here it is going to be if. Open the bracket, close the bracket. Don't forget that because it's going to get more complex. And open the bracket, close the bracket, comma and comma for the if statement. And what? As you can see in the diagram here in front of you, we can add the conditions that we want in this practice, in this parentheses, as much as we want and as much as we desire. But actually, I have a copy of it to save time, and this is going to be the formula. If E5, here is E5, greater than 49, then we are going to have the true here. This is all this part is the true. The false, it is going to be F. But if it is greater than or equal 49, which means 50, we are going to go to the and second if. And if E5 is greater than 50 and E5 is less than 60, then the true is going to be C. The false is going to be the if statement, this one. If and E5, the value of E5 is greater than 61 and less than equal 80, is going to be B, otherwise it's going to be A. So press enter, and here it is. Alex got C because he is greater than 50, greater than or equal 50, and less than or equal, there is equal here, so he gets C because he is in the C grade. As we know, the simplest part is drag, and here it is. We have Eve got 40, so she fails and she got F. We have Susan got 20, she fails and she got F. Great. Celine from 80 got B, Jack 90 got A, Jackson 65 got B, because here the condition is 61 to 80. Don't forget that, 61 to 80. So 65 is greater than 61 and less than 80. So he's going to get B, A, B, and 55 is going to be C. Now I'm going to return back to the function in the grades. What is the grade here? Yeah. And try and erase it completely. First, I'm going to take a copy of here, of this one, to save the work, and I'm going to delete it. This is the formula that I copied. If not this time, open bracket and close bracket. What is going to happen? I didn't change anything except applying the negation. Enter. Alex failed in spite of he has 60, which is a passing grade. Drag. So Susan supposed to fail, but she passed. And if got passed in spite of she's supposed to fail. So this is what happened actually is we applied the opposite of the same condition. Now let's apply the ifs function. I'm going to stand up in the H5 and I'm going to use the insert function dialog box, and here is the fs underneath of the f. As you can see in the explanation area, fs logical test value if true. This is very important here. Keep that in mind, if true, because there is always the case of if false. What's going to happen? We are going to solve that little problem now. Test criteria 1 or logical test 1. If E60 is less than or equal 49, the true value it is going to be fail. Let me put it in the code. Fail. Okay. The second one. The second one says that if the value or the grade is greater than or equal 50 and less than or equal 60, then this is C. So I'm going to use and, open bracket, close bracket, and it takes two conditions. So and what? And E5, E5 greater than or equal 50, after the comma, E5 less than or equal to 60, and the result is going to be C. See, look at this. Logical test 1, logical test result if true, logical test 2, and C result. Now let's go to logical test number 3. So we finished the F grade, we finished the C grade. Now let's go to the B grade. It's going to be also an and because it's a range from 61 to 80. So I'm going to say type and, open, close, in between, put the comma. This is how I feel easier or how I usually write it. So I do not forget the terms, I do not forget the commas, brackets, stuff like that. Small things like that. So I'm gonna select the E5 again, E5 is greater than or equal 61. The comma represents the and. E5 is less than or equal to 80. And as you can see, there is a scroll bar in the side here. We can go down, 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 as many as you want until you reach the 127 value. So you have 127 pair of condition result you can have. But let's just stop at the 3 here. So number 3, it is going to be the B grade. Now let's go to the last test condition. We are not going to use the AND here because it is if any grade then greater than 81. I don't know why this is here, but this is here. E5 greater than or equal to 81. The value is going to be A. Let's see what we did so far. He got C, the same like the if statement 1. Now I'm gonna drag it, the easy part. As you can see, it is the same results, but different formula. Now we said that the function if s only gives you the results if the result is true. But sometimes there is a result that's false. Let's change that a little bit and see what can happen. If I remove the equal, it's still C, and let's drag. Oh, we have two errors, not applicable here and not applicable here. But why it is not applicable? Simply because the grade is 90 and the grade is 85 and the condition says 81 for A, only 81. That's absolutely wrong. We need to do something about this. So what we are going to do is I'm going to go to the first one here. I'm going to cut and I'm going to go to our old friend if function. I'm going to open, close. If function has three components, as we know. It has the condition, it has the true, and it has the false. So the condition is going to be what? If E5 is greater than 81, then it is, I'm sorry, just 81, then it is going to be A. Otherwise, it's going to be if s function. So this way, as you can see, we merged two functions together, the if function and if is function. This is the false component of the if statement, and this is A is the true component of the if statement. So let's try to see what's going to happen. It's still C. Let's drag. Oh, it changed completely the result. The result is the same, as you can see, the same, but the function is different. And if we use the third case of if statement with if s, we are going to overcome the defect or the flaw of the if s function. Now, finally, I would like to apply the sum if who passed and the amount of people who failed. It's equal count if open bracket close bracket and it takes two arguments. The first argument is the range that we are looking for, and the second argument is the criteria. I am going to make a mistake on purpose here. I am going to say quote, if the result of E5 here, E5 doesn't want to write it, okay, E5 greater than or equal to 50. So if you have greater than or equal 50, you are passed. So add 1 all the time, enter. It gave me 0. Greater than or equal, greater than 0. Why is that? Because I don't have to write the E5 here. The E5, as you can see, is not needed because I already have a range of values. So all I need is this, the condition only, greater than or equal to 50, and the passes are 8. Let's try it again without errors this time. It is equal, count, if, open bracket, close bracket, come in between, put the comma, and select the range, and for the criteria, open quotes, bracket, close it, and less than or equal to 49. Enter, it gave me 2. So there are 2 students who have failed. So number of passes are 8, number of failed are 2. Now I am going to take the average and the highest and the lowest. I put those for revision from the previous lecture, the last lecture. So I'm going to have average equal average, open, average of what? Of the range. Here it is 63.6. This is the average class. Now highest, maximum, equal max of range. The same range. Press. The highest grade is 90, which is Jack. The lowest grade equal minimum, open close. In the bracket, I am going to use the last range, the same range, press enter and give me 20, which is Susan. With this, I will conclude the video. And if you would like to know more about the lookup functions and the rest of the functions and formulas from Excel, please view the coming video. Thank you so much, and I wish you the best. Finally, if you like the video, don't forget to subscribe, share, and like.